Okay. Okay, so welcome Nourish community. We're super happy you're here. My name's Rachel Richards. I'm going to host you through a really interactive book club today. It's our last one of 2021. We will not be having book club on Christmas, the 25th, nor will we be on New Year's Day, the 1st. So we do encourage you to stay in your book, keep those weekly check-ins with your coach, keep interacting in the community, keep listening to podcasts. You guys hopefully are seeing now that the more you show up in the community, the more that you do the true program, which is your program was 75%, it didn't come in your box, right? Or 75% of your program did not come in your box. It comes through life, this talking, real people, value, services that the diet industry has never offered you, has never offered me. We did not get these services. We did not get this support. And that's why we were not successful, is because that's what it takes. So just make sure as you guys are coming in, you're on mute, please. Please make sure your line is muted so we have a nice clean recording. And I have a couple questions that I want to get started with today that I want you to think about. Okay, there's 4 questions that I want you to really think about as we get started and as we do a little bit of vision casting for who you're going to become in 2022. Okay, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what do you really want? What do you really want? And that's obviously right in line with element 1 of this book. So to this point, we have covered 7 since we've restarted our book challenge. We have covered 7 of the elements in the life book. And we're going to kind of recap those and have some discussion around that. But the first thing is, if you are not clear on what you want, you will not attain it. Okay. And nor will your coaches be able to contend for it with you, because they won't understand what you really want. So you got to get really clear on that. And when I say clear on it, like, you have to visualize it. You have to describe it. You have to pull back the onion. You have to really ask yourself, is that what I really want? Or am I doing that because I think that's the right thing to do? Right? I don't even have an intrinsic motivation to do that. So sometimes the hardest question, I used to be a business coach before I was a growth coach or a life coach or a health coach, whatever you want to call me, a transformation health coach. The hardest question for people to answer was, what do you want? And sometimes we can just slip into the victim mentality by telling everyone around us how life is not good enough because we're not clear on what we want. And we can't even tell our spouses what we want, or our employer what we need to be happy. So it is a true struggle at times to say, I don't know, I'm just walking around complaining. And then someone will ask you, what do you want? And you're like, I don't know, I think I just want to complain, Get clear on it. And then the next question that goes in line with that is, what is it going to cost you? Have you ever thought about what you want and what it will cost you? So what do I want? What will it cost me? The third one is, am I willing to pay the price? Are you willing to pay the price? Like, for me to be able to read my life book and be a student of these transformation systems that have changed my life in the last 4.5 years, in order for that to happen, I had to give up some TV shows. I had to say no to certain things that I knew would trip me up. So as I was getting these yeses of weight loss, and yes of autoimmune being reduction, and yes of mental clarity, and yes of muscle tone that I hadn't seen since my 20s, as I was getting the yeses, I was having to pass out a bunch of no's. And that part can be a little trying when you're getting a healthy mind, to not give a no out without feeling like a victim. Okay. Can you give a no out and feel like a victor? Yes, you can. Okay. Yes, you can. You can walk into a room and say, no, thank you. I broke up with sugar like 3 weeks ago and I'm feeling amazing. And honestly, that looks delicious, but I just came to hang out with you and I'm not sad about it. That's like passing out a no in an empowerment way versus like, poor me, I'm on my silly diet. I have to eat my silly bar in front of all of you because I'm so sad because I'm deprived, right? We're moving out of that space and we're moving into a space of empowerment. Okay. Then the last thing is, when should I start paying the price? So you can ask this all the time of yourself. What do I want? What is it going to cost me? Am I willing to pay the price? And when should I start paying the price? So does anybody feel brave enough to come off of mute and say what they want for 2022? What do you want? Does anybody know what you want? Like, are you willing to share with this community what you want and what you're contending for in 2022? I would love a couple people, but first, let's see. I need to look at some people this morning because we got $25 to give away. So start thinking about what I just said. And I'm looking for a non-coach though. I don't want to give it away to a coach. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I just see, let's see, I'm looking, turn your cameras on. I have a prize to give away, but I got to see what you're wearing. We had a funny way of giving it away today. So I'm looking at, oh my goodness. So Yolanda, let's see, Yolanda, she has 2 hearts in her name and she has a Santa hat on. Yes. Okay. So can you type your first and last name in the chat? And I would love to put a $25 wellness credit on your account today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being a part of the community. We appreciate you. So just put that in the chat. We'll get that taken care of. And we appreciate you. So who's ready to share what they want in 2022? Let's kind of unpack this together. I need some people to come off mute. Otherwise, I have to call on you.
Rachel, are you talking clients here or coaches?
Every coach is a client. You can.
No, I'm saying, do you want specific?
Yes.
No, okay.
Anybody. It truly
Okay.
anybody. Obviously, we'd love to hear from some newcomers too. But
Okay.
thank you, Sherry, for being willing. I appreciate you.
Okay. I get some money for my red hair. I'm just saying.
All right. So we don't have anyone that wants to share tell us what you want in 2022. If you put it out there, there's some good chances it's going to happen.
Hey, Rachel.
Okay.
Yes. I can't. Is it Ken?
Yep.
There we go. Hi, Ken. Good morning.
Good morning. For me personally, I'm looking forward to continuing my health journey and, moving into optimization and, being able to live a better life than it was 7 months ago. That's a huge 21 to 22 for me. So being able to continue that goal and that journey and build myself in 2022 is really exciting.
I love that. And so that's what you want, right? You're looking forward to optimization. Yep. So Ken, just for everyone's sake, he's gone through induction, that healing phase, recalibrating our bodies, healing our bodies, the detox, the losing of visceral fat. He's transitioning, starting to transition and optimize. And so Ken, have you thought about what is it going to cost you? Like, what is your new life going to cost you? That maybe, what are some old Kens that are going to be like, bye, we don't do that anymore. It cost me that.
I think a lot of it comes down to just those minuscule habits that I used to have, those minute things that, I would just do, and because I always took the easy track. So for me, that, I'm not going back to those old ways, making that conscious choice to not do those things, those bad habits that got me to the position where I was. And so for me going forward, it's really a constant reminder and constantly looking at what I've been able to accomplish in 2021 is my continued motivation in 2022. So, just unhealthy snacking. For me, it was always I was a snacker. could continuously, throughout the day, grab little handfuls of things. So being very mindful about what I'm picking up and putting in my mouth.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. So it's just becoming conscious in your eating has changed it, and you don't want to go back to unconscious eating. Unconscious eating. How many of us did that where you had so many empty calories in your day, whether it was the caramel drizzle all down your drink, the whipped cream coming out the top, the ketchup all over the burger. Guys, we ate 600 calories a day in condiments before we knew how to count them. Okay, so this is all unconscious stuff that we're like, yeah, I don't know, nothing's working for me, until we confront that and see that those were the sneaky little things. Love it. Anybody else want to share? What are you going to create in 2022? What do you want? And then we'll move on to some other things that I had for you this morning.
I will share.
Okay, we have.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, we'll get to both of you. Definitely. Ladies first.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to my optimal health mindset more so than weight, because I would no longer be diabetic in January. I'm speaking it into existence. I'm like borderline. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to my new lifestyle of not going back to the old habits, emotional, of not eating versus eating. Okay, girls, I'm on call. Sorry, and I'm out with my family, and so also getting out of my comfort zone of sharing with my heart to become loving on people till they get healthy as well.
I love that. So good. So good. So all of that, and I love the music in the background. That was great. Good morning. I love that. All of that is things that once you guys can say it, you see, that's the hard part, to say, this is what I want to become. And then no one's really asked us, yeah, but what's that going to cost you? And there's always a cost to freedom. For all of our military on here, thank you for serving us. Thank you for keeping us safe. Freedom always costs something. There's no such thing as freedom without a cost. So, John, I'm going to go to you. I know you wanted to share, and if anyone else wants to share, it's very liberating, guys, to say what you want and what it's going to cost you in public. I think it's extremely powerful. Go ahead, John.
Hey, amen to that. Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here, happy to share. I really haven't thought about it that much, but offhand, like gut feeling is that, I'm in optimization, right? I said transition last week. I think I was a little bit wrong on that terminology, but hey, so I want to actually focus this, that I took care of my health and controlled my path on that. I want to continue on that and continue in all areas of my life, career, finances, family, and continue taking control over my emotions and my thoughts, and just get on a complete better path, because I've been doing what I've been doing. I've been getting what I've been getting. So I want to see something new this year.
I love it. I love it. My suggestion to you is get crystallized on, when you say this is yardage, right? We talk about getting 1% better. So if I want to show up as a better parent in 2022, that can kind of freak me out. It's a little too vague. It's a little too big. I don't know if I hit the target. I didn't set a small enough goal. So I'm going to peel that sucker back and go, you know what I'm going to do in 2022? If I make mistakes with my kids, I'm going to apologize really fast. I want to be better at handing out sorries and showing them that that is not the way that I should have showed up in that situation, and that I need to let them know what that could have looked like, and that I'm sorry. So that's like something that I can do that will make me a better parent, but it's very granular. I'm prideful. So for me to say I'm sorry has taken a lot of work. I used to see that as failure, and I'm a perfectionist. This program has broke me of that perfection, and that's ego. That's ego. And I didn't know until I read my life book that I was an egomaniac, where I'm like, oh, wow, I really got to look at myself. So I love that. Thank you for that. Let's get granular, you guys. Take those questions and really pour into them, and then share them with your coach. Okay. Anybody else want to share before we move on from?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah, please do. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Brent Comerford.
Hi, Brent.
Hi. Sorry, I'm hiding out in my room because the kids are being loud. So, um, but honestly, I want to be able to actually solidify my habits. I'm building healthy habits, but I tend to kind of get really close to building a solid habit, and then it kind of slips away, and I go back to my old ways. So I'm really looking forward to kind of just actually solidifying it, making it an actual habit versus, just kind of muddling my way through and pretending.
I love that. Thank you so much, Brent. So I was talking to another coach yesterday at our coffee time. You guys have heard from him. His name is Brian Russell. And he's like, man, it's so cool that this book has showed us. Do you guys remember when you were not on this program and you were in the 4 habit formations? There's 4 parts. The first part was you were unconscious that you had a problem. So they call that unconsciously incompetent. Okay. That's where we all were before, driving around like, oh, well, I don't know. Do I have a problem? And then some of us got a cue from a doctor and they were like, hey, your blood sugar is a little high, or hey, your blood pressure is borderline, or hey, you went to put on a pair of pants and they didn't fit. So that's a cue. Okay. So you move from being unconsciously incompetent to conscious that you're incompetent, where you're like, okay, I know I have a problem now. Okay. So that's progress. And then you get on program and you start being consciously competent. You have alarms going off telling you when to eat. You have a coach saying, hi, you want to check in? And you're like, oh, okay. So I'm becoming competent. And then you get to the 4th and final phase, which Brent said he wants. And it's beautiful and it's possible. Unconsciously competent. Where you're like, I don't know. I don't go anywhere without my water. I don't know. I eat 6 times a day. I don't even think about it. I don't know. My stomach reminds me now. I don't skip meals anymore. I can't. I'm too hungry. I'm a burner. I'm not a storer. So do you guys see that in this program, we're not asking you to come up with willpower anymore. Willpower is weak. It's weak. It's emotionally driven. It has never served you. We're asking you to consider another way for 2022, which is habit loops long enough to where they just become subconsciously competent. And you now it's like brushing your teeth. You don't need someone to call you at 8 p.m. and say, hey, go get the toothpaste and the toothbrush, right? You're beyond it. Did you guys know that health can be like that? I didn't. I did not know that before I found this program. I literally thought that I had to listen to all these pump up things and look at Pinterest and, all these 90-day challenges. And oh my gosh, I was so lost. So I love that. Okay. I wanted to open up at least 5 minutes of questions, at least. We know you have questions. You might have questions about transition. You might have questions about exercise. You might have questions about how to share the program with people that don't understand it. You might have questions about how to deal with a sabotager in your life. You might have questions about why you sabotage. I don't know. But this morning, you've got a bunch of coaches and clients that are on with you. And we do this about once every 6 weeks. We're kind of bringing it back of Q&A. And I did get some questions from people that I will offer up if no one asks me a question, because we don't want to have dead air on the call. But I would love your real life questions. So if someone wants to come off mute and just ask a question, we would love to answer it in community. And it could be anything, and there are no dumb questions, okay? Because someone may know something that you don't, that's okay. There are no dumb questions when it comes to transforming your whole life. So ask away. Anybody have any questions or concerns or anything that they would love to bring into community?
Hey, Rachel, it's Amy over here. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Morning.
Morning.
Hey, so when you're trying to change like your own mindset to like a more positive way, and you constantly have like people in your life that are like more negative and more like just down all the time, how do you like transition into like a more healthier relationship with them and let them know that you're there for them? But sometimes it's just so draining to like listen to such negativity all the time when you're trying to like stay positive on your own.
Right. Good. I'm going to answer it, but I'm going to give some other coaches a chance to chime in on this. My first answer, actually, Tim's standing right here and he said observer. And I'm like, I love that reminder. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's powerful. So here's the drama triangle, right? Negativity. So your drama triangle has what do you call it? A villain, right? And then there's a victim, and then there's a hero. And you can move from being a victim to a villain to a hero all in one day, which is really taxing on your brain, but it can happen. But what Tim's saying is when you're outside of it, like I'll have a conversation with someone in my family that's really negative, and I have to take the observer role, meaning I'm watching it like a movie, but I'm not allowing it to enter. It's almost like, and the things that I'll say is that's interesting to myself. It's interesting to me that every time I speak to this person, they want to tell me just absolutely how negative life is and how horrible things are. I find that interesting. I don't need to change them. My reaction is my responsibility. My reaction will make 90% of what happens happen, and my lack of reaction will neutralize the situation. Now, I also have to have boundaries. So I'm not going to call these people when I need to create something beautiful in my day, right? I'm not going to call these people when I have a big, exciting dream that I want to share with them. Why? They're limited. They're not healthy enough to share my dream with. So I have to learn these things and know like, oh, that's interesting. So write that down on your phone. That's interesting. Instead of letting it hit you, you're watching it like a movie. Jody, do you want to share? And then did you have a comment about that? Awesome. Love to hear from you.
Good morning, community. I wanted to comment on it because I just got to Denver and I have a lot of accomplices here. I have a lot of negative family here. So what I'm doing is I'm being very intentional with my time here, and I've mapped out a schedule, my husband and we are spending limited time with those negative people and those accomplices, and we're spending positive time with all of those positive people that are cheering us on in our health journey. Also, guys, lean into your coaches this week. This is going to be a hard week. Like, I'm getting emotional because it's going to be a hard week for me. Lean into us, your community, your coaches, and your friends that are positive. Don't go to those accomplices because it's going to do you no good. And know that we're all here to love on you. Oh, thanks, Britt. I love you too. And just keep positive this week, because you have great things going on, and don't let the negative bring you down. That's it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Miss Jody. We're so happy you're a part of our community and that we can breathe life into each other until we can have healthier people around us. We create our healthy community. That's what we're doing. David, I see your hand up. Did you have a comment, a question? Love to get to you. David Neal.
More of a question. I've been on over about 16 months now, and I've done really well. 55 pounds. My insulin has dropped tremendously, but I find it really hard still to not do that one bite thing. That one bite thing is it that bad, or is it something I still have to get by? I do I'm doing the program the best as I can. I have a good support system, but it's that one bite that sometimes, if we're out and I have my salad and I have, what I'm supposed to have, but then I see that one bite on that other plate that I go ahead and take.
Yes. Thank you. I think I heard most of what you said. You've been incredibly successful on the plan. You've lost a lot of weight. You're starting to balance your blood sugars, but you're dealing with bites, licks, and tastes of your old life. And that little bit of compromise and wanting to know, does that make me bad? Is it that bad if I do that? Is it, and really unpacking that. there are some incredibly gifted coaches. Why are they gifted? Because they just stuck with their program, not because they're reading their books. Does anyone in our coaching community want to answer that? And then I'll color in at the end anything that I may have added. I would love to offer that to someone. The bites, licks, and tastes, like we've all dealt with it. We call them BLTs, right? They actually have their own name. So anybody want to coach that?
Hi,
Could I
David.
chime in?
I'd like to chime in.
Yeah, go ahead, Sherry.
David, first of all, I want to thank you for being just open and honest, because so many struggle with the same thing. So thank you for bringing it into community. The genius of Optavia is that we don't go it alone, and none of us are perfect. So my encouragement to you is element one, why? Rachel started to ask one of those 4 questions when we began. So several things I would be intentional in, if you know that this is a kryptonite. As you're moving around in the holidays, stay away from the food, stay away from restaurants, things that will bring up an awakening of an aroma to get you to try to deviate. Keep your why just totally focused and ask yourself, okay, if what I'm about to do, is this going to cause me to go closer to my goals, or is it going to pull me further back? Hit your coach up immediately. Coach, I'm struggling. And, just talk to yourself. Self-talk is so healthy. And then grab some water. Keep this water in your right hand all the time if you're right-handed, and keep sipping that water. It's because you have to be intentional. If you put the water down, there you go. All right. To pick up something that doesn't serve your goal. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I hope that's helpful. Okay.
Super helpful, super helpful.
you.
We call that make the craving invisible, make it inconvenient. At the end of the day, she said, stop, challenge, and choose. The drinking water, just so you guys know, real quick, if you grab your water and you take a drink, you switch out of your emotional brain to your logical brain. Did you know that? It's actually how you shift from emotional brain, Labrador brain. Oh my gosh, that bundt cake looks amazing. That's my favorite bundt cake. I can't believe they have the bundt cake here. I've been so good, right? Stop, take a drink of water. When you swallow, it creates a shift into your logical brain. And you could say, oh, silly girl, I know what that bundt cake tastes like. I've had a million of those bundt cakes. That's why I called my coach. And this year I want to go to a place that I've never been, which is my healthiest weight, my sugar's stable. I'm, all these things. And so I'm going to give that a hard and fast no, and give myself a yes of crushing my goals, for the first time. It's all about self-trust. Adrian, I see your hand up. Did you want to add to that, or did you have a new question?
No, I wanted to add to that, just an experience that I had. And a lot of these things, I so agree with what Sherry was saying, was that it really gives you an insight to you and what's going on inside of you. At this time of year at schools, they always have, a lot of treats and everything. And I have a wonderful principal. She made homemade treats and all this thing every day. And, I realized that one of my triggers is I want to, if somebody does kind, I feel like I have to eat it to say thank you, to say I appreciate it and everything. So I realized that. And instead I said, so what can I do instead? Why don't I just go and tell her thank you? Why don't I just go and say, I appreciate what you're doing, even though I'm not partaking of it. So what I see when I'm tempted and I want those things, it helps me to go into and see, well, why is it? What's the root cause of this temptation? Because it's not that, I want this little food right now. I want a little bite. It goes deeper than that. So that's what I wanted to add.
I love that. Well, I'm so sad that we're already out of time, but I have something I want to give you that I wrote myself this morning, and it really kind of got me thinking about what we're doing here. Okay. So kind of bear with me and we'll close up together. Have you ever been told by someone, you've got to change. You need to change, right? And you're like, wow, okay. So that's sometimes where it starts. Other people even saying, you need to change this about you. I don't like this in you. We've all experienced that. I've had people tell me, in this area of your life, you need to change. And that's a hard thing to hear. Okay. Then it goes to, I've got to change. I say that I've got to change. Okay. Then it goes to, I hope this change lasts. Like maybe some of you are on this call today and you're feeling the change and you're starting to be healed. And you're just saying to yourself, I really hope this lasts. Right. And then you're going to get to a space where you're going to say, you know what? I want this change for other people. I want this change for other people. And then you're going to say, I hope together we can change the world. And that's actually what Optavia is doing. We are looking to change the world from what? From unconscious thinkers to conscious thinkers. From people that are storing all that they eat to those that are burning all that they eat. From coming out of an obesogenic world to a leptogenic world. To coming out of self-directed to community-driven. Guys, we are looking to change the world, starting with your world first, but it has to be this. It can't be in 2022 trying to control your eating. I hope you know that that won't work. I hope the books, the community, and the coaches have at least awakened you to another deprivation technique in 2022 will not work. Outrunning our fork in 2022 will not work. Bring it into community. Go all in with these systems. Share what's really going on with your coaches. And let us love you through this transformation process of becoming the best version that you've ever wanted to be. There's no fast balls. There's only slow balls that we have to throw at you. And it takes time and you have to be patient with yourself. And bring others with you because it's way more fun. And I could not walk into my current community and make it healthy. I had to create a healthy community. So when I go into Nourished and I see that there's some 3,400 people in there, I want to let you know this morning that started with me saying yes to this program. Imagine my joy. Imagine my joy. It's overwhelming. And I want to give you that this morning. So please don't shortchange yourself. The full journey in 2022. That's my appeal to your heart this morning. I hope you know that. We're here for you and we appreciate all of you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And thank you for being a part of our community.